You're $250,000 in debt to a man who doesn't use the legal system to collect. The loan shark in Las Vegas has given you 48 hours, or your sister pays the price for your gambling addiction. That's when the man in the charcoal suit approaches you at the bar. He doesn't ask for your name. He offers you a job at a facility that officially doesn't exist. You sign the 50-page non-disclosure agreement without reading a single word. You've just sold your life to the Nevada desert. Level 1, the custodian. You start at the very bottom, earning $25 an hour to scrub floors in empty hangars at Groom Lake. Your hands are raw from industrial-strength chemicals that have no labels, only serial numbers. You're a ghost. Scientists in white lab coats walk past you as if you're part of the plumbing. Your living quarters are a windowless metal box. No phone, no internet, no contact with the outside world. Every Tuesday, you see strange, pulsating lights on the horizon at 3 a.m., but your supervisor tells you it's just heat haze reflecting off the salt flats. You know he's lying, but the weekly $4,000 paycheck hits your sister's account back in Vegas. You keep scrubbing, you keep quiet. Level 2, perimeter security. You've been promoted. Now you wear a tactical vest and carry an MK-18 with a thermal optic. You're one of the camo dudes. You earn $10,000 a month to sit in a white Ford Raptor in the middle of a scorched wasteland. Your orders are absolute. Anyone who crosses the line without a transponder signal is a target. You spend 12 hours a day staring at the shimmering horizon. One night, a silver object descends from the clouds without making a sound. It hovers over Hangar 18 for 10 seconds, defying every law of aerodynamics you've ever heard of, then vanishes at the speed of thought. A metallic taste fills your mouth. Your radio crackles with a voice that sounds like grinding glass. You saw a weather balloon, soldier. Return to your patrol. You realize then that the guns aren't there to keep people out. They're there to keep the secrets in. Level 3, technical support. You're no longer in the sun. You work in the subterranean levels, 50 feet below the desert floor. You earn $18,000 a month to maintain the cooling systems for hardware that wasn't built on this planet. You walk through Hangar 18 and you finally see it. A craft made of what looks like liquid mercury. It doesn't have rivets, seams, or an engine. It vibrates against your eardrums. A low-frequency hum that makes your nose bleed twice a week. You're tasked with replacing the liquid nitrogen lines. You see a technician accidentally touch the hull. His hand doesn't burn. It simply phases through the metal and never comes back. They escort him away, and you never see him again. You realize the hardware is alive. You stop eating meat. The smell of the cooling fluid reminds you of something biological. Level 4, field recovery. You've joined the cleanup crew. You earn $30,000 for every retrieval mission. At 2 a.m., you're flown by a blacked-out Chinook to a crash site in the middle of the Mojave. There, you see a jagged hole in reality. The debris doesn't look like metal. It looks like woven obsidian. It's light as a feather but harder than diamond. You help load the fragments into lead-lined containers. You see a smear of purple fluid on the sand that glows with a light that hurts your eyes. You're told to spray the area with a chemical agent that dissolves everything, including the top inch of topsoil. When you get back to the base, you have to sit in a decontamination chamber for 6 hours. Your hair starts falling out in clumps, and your fingernails are brittle. The money is staggering, but you've started to realize you aren't just cleaning up crashes, you're erasing evidence of a war. Level 5, signal analyst. You're moved to the black site bunker, 100 feet underground. Your salary is now $500,000 a year, but you haven't seen the sun in 6 months. You wear noise-canceling headphones for 12 hours a day, listening to mathematical screams coming from deep within the earth. It's not radio. It's a subatomic broadcast. You translate sequences that describe the molecular structure of elements that shouldn't exist in this universe. You begin to understand that the base isn't protecting the world from aliens. It's a diplomatic terminal. You see raw footage of occupants. They don't look like the Greys from the movies. They look like biological glitches, masses of shifting geometry and light. You realize the government isn't in charge. They're just the janitors for something much older. You stop sleeping. Paranoia is your only friend. Level 6, black budget controller. You manage the flow of shadow money. $2 billion move through your hands every month. You use shell companies in Singapore and numbered accounts in Zurich to fund projects with names like Blue Beam and Looking Glass. You bribe senators and vanish journalists with a single encrypted message. You wear $5,000 suits, but you only wear them in a bunker. Your family was told you died in a car accident 3 years ago. It's safer that way. You coordinate the transport of organic material in cryogenic vats. You know what's inside. You know they need human stem cells to stabilize their environment. You aren't a patriot anymore. You're an accountant for a cosmic genocide. Level 7, the Abyss. This is the rank that the others only whisper about. This is where the science ends and the nightmare begins. You supervise the hybrid program. You walk down corridors where glass tanks hold creatures that are half human, half something else. You see their eyes, too large, too deep, and they scream at you telepathically, begging for a death you aren't allowed to give them. You authorize dimensional grafting experiments on volunteers who were scrubbed from federal prison rosters. You watch what happens when a human soul is forcibly detached and replaced with a synthetic consciousness. It is absolute horror disguised as military progress. You realize the treaty we signed in the 50s wasn't for technology. It was a lease on our own species. You cry in the shower every night, but you can't quit. If you quit, you become the next specimen. Level 8, Base Commander. You are the master of Area 51. You have a direct line to the Pentagon, but even the Joint Chiefs are afraid of you. You control the technology that decides which nations thrive and which ones are deleted from history. You are the most powerful man on the planet and the most isolated prisoner. You live in a golden cage surrounded by 20 miles of restricted airspace and thousands of sensors. You can't trust your second-in-command. You can't trust the air you breathe. You spend your days staring at monitors, watching the world you helped enslave with secrets. You have billions of dollars and access to the stars, but you'd give it all for a burger from a street vendor and one honest conversation. The end comes quietly. It isn't a raid. It isn't an invasion. It's an internal audit from an even darker faction of the shadow government. They decide you know too much, and your usefulness has expired. One Tuesday night, the oxygen in your command suite is slowly replaced with pure nitrogen. You die without a struggle, staring at a screen that shows the empty, shimmering Nevada desert. The next morning, a new 19-year-old kid, buried in gambling debt and looking for a way out, sits at a bar in Las Vegas. The man in the charcoal suit approaches him with a 50-page contract. The cycle begins again. Groom Lake never stops growing.